TinkerCAD tips. I was recently challenged by a follower to help him work on a project that he was doing, and the intent was to take the shape of this whistle and embed it inside of this cone. The idea being is the cone would be on top of a rocket, and as it went upwards it would whistle. So the challenge here is to get the inside shape of this whistle, to make a negative of it, and then to be able to embed it in here. If we take a closer look at these whistles, let's click this one here, it's just a second copy, we'll make it transparent. You can see the basic shape here. There's where the air comes in at the top, and then it goes over sort of a flange, and then there's an additional rectangular chamber down here. We'll look at it from the side. And what the first thing we need to do is to isolate the shape of that inside part. Now when I did this project, I was able to do it. Here's a couple of examples. Here's one. Let's make this one transparent. You can see that basic shape of the whistle inside of there. And then I have this additional opening for the air to escape once it comes into the top. I have a second one here where I've got two of these inside of it back to back, and then I've got these others here where I did sort of the same thing, but I put this forcing cone on top. Yeah, it was just an extra addition that I wanted to do. So let me walk you through how I was able to isolate the shape of the inside of the whistle. Let's go ahead and move some of these things up and out of the way. Here's a few of the steps, starting with this, and then I came up with this and then turned it into a hole. So let me walk you through what I did here. Let's grab that. Let's make a duplicate of it. We'll bring it out here. Now I want to put another block at the back of this and make it a little bit longer, so we'll bring out a square. This is 7.51 wide, so we'll make that the same. This is 28.48 tall. There we go. Let's select the both of those and do a quick alignment. We'll click on this one to make him the boss. There we go. Now what I want to do, let's change my snap grid here. Let's set it to off for the highest granularity, and holding the shift key here, I'm going to bring this over until I close this gap up here. There we go, a little bit of overlap. If I make this transparent, you can see where my block hasn't really cut into that part of the whistle. Zoom out here, change the transparency. Let's go ahead and merge those two together. Do a quick group. Alright, now let's bring out a cylinder here. We'll increase the number of sides, and we're going to make it relatively the same width as this. This was 7.51. Holding the shift key, I'm going to click on the corner, and let's make this 7.49. There we go. Let's bring it over, bring it up a bit. Let's do an alignment to this. Make that the boss. Center it and bring it to this edge. Let's bring the height of this down just a little bit. There we go. Now you'll notice here that there's still a little bits of this cylinder that are poking out from this red part. So what I'm going to do here is select just that orange part, the cylinder, and using the left cursor key, I'm going to cursor over just a little bit till all those lines disappear. We'll do one more. There we go. Alright, now we're going to turn this red part into a hole shape. We're going to select those two and group those together. And now what I'm left with is a shape of the inside of it. But I did note that there's a couple little extra things hanging off the bottom here, so let's go ahead and get rid of those. What we're going to do is grab a hole box here, and I can place it right on that flat surface of the bottom. Let's zoom out a bit here. Whoop, undo that. Let's select the two of those and do a quick alignment. That way and that way. Double check it. Okay, we'll group the two of those together, and that should nip off those two extra pieces at the bottom. Alright, so there we go. Now we have the inner shape of that whistle. This is the part that we're going to hollow out. But if we look at our cone, bring out a copy of our cone here, where the air comes out of this, we're going to need to extend that so we can come out of the side of this cone. And for that, I made this little extension on here at a slope. So let me show you how I did that. Zoom in here a bit. Let's go ahead and make this yellow. It's easier for me to see. We'll bring out another box here. Let's turn this to yellow. Okay, let's make it the same width. This is 7.11. There we go. Let's bring this down a bit here. Let's align these two this way in this direction. Alright, now let's bring this up. And what I want to do is line that square up on this outside edge. And we're going to move underneath here, and I want to bring it up until I meet the bottom lip of the original part of the whistle. Zoom in. Okay, so we can see that begin to poke out just a little bit there. Holding the control key, I'm going to cursor down a little bit. There we go. Zoom out. Alright, let's bring down the height of this till it matches the top. There we go. And now we're going to make it meet this part of it right here. Okay, now one thing that we're going to want to do, bring over my other example here, is to cut off this flat part. Now, before we do that, I'm going to do a couple other steps here. Let's move this one out of the way. So I have a couple more steps here. I'm going to go ahead and get a copy of this rectangle as it is right at this moment. Grab a copy of that. We'll duplicate it, and I'm going to go ahead and hide it. We'll bring that back momentarily. And I'm also going to want to take this particular square and angle it down. But what I want to do is to be able to pivot that at a particular corner. In order to pivot this piece, I'm going to make a duplicate of it. I'm going to put the work plane on the end of that box and hit D to drop it. I'm going to come in from underneath, put the work plane on the bottom of that rectangle there, and hit D to drop. Let's put our work plane back on the normal surface here. Now what I'm going to do is select this one and this one, and for the moment I'm going to take and do this pivot here. Let's get it at an angle, let's say about like that. Go ahead and select that. We can delete it. Now we're going to have to move our piece back to where we want it here. Holding the control key, let's bring it up a bit until that, there we go, that bottom lip right there sticks out a bit. There we go. All right, let's bring back the part that we hid. And we're going to use a couple of hole boxes to trim off a few pieces here. Let's bring out one here. Set it on top. We can lower this. So let's select that. We'll select this bottom one. Group those together. Let's select this top one. Let's hide it just for the moment. Let's bring out another hole box here. Bring that up. Let's unhide that. There we go. Let's select that and that hole box. Group those two together. There we go. Shape is taking form. Now just for the moment, I'm going to hide or move these out of the way. And what we want to do is make a trim that's at the back angle of where this is on the whistle here. You see that? So let's move this back. To right there. Okay, let's hide that for a moment. Let's bring out another hole box. There we go. We set it on that back angle there. Unhide. All right, we'll select those two and this hole box and we'll merge those together. There we go. We'll take all of those pieces, merge those together, and there we have our basic shape. And if we turn that into a hole, we can use that to cut the whistle into the cone. So let's select our cone. Let's make a duplicate. We'll bring it out here. Let's move our whistle shape back here. Let's make a duplicate of that so we always have a copy. Let's select the cone. We'll do a quick alignment to this. We'll bring it up to the right height. down the center. Select that whistle. We'll hold the control key and come up just 2 clicks. And let's center this a little bit better. We'll go that way with it. There we go. Let's group the 2 of those. There we go. If we make this transparent, you can now see where that whistle has been embedded inside the cone. And if we move into position here, you can see where the air would rush through over that sharp lip and then out of that vent. I realize this was a longer tutorial, but I hope it was interesting. If you like what you saw, drop me a comment, and as always, like, follow, and share.